Hey guys, welcome back to a video. Today we're going to have a look at and a little review of the Game Boy Micro in 2020. So the Game Boy Micro was first released in September 2005. It's a smaller, lighter redesign of the Game Boy Advance, or the Game Boy Advance SP, which it actually released alongside of the famous AGS 101 series of Game Boy Advance SPs, which have a better screen than the other SPs. And actually the Game Boy Micro also has this screen, so it's a really bright screen. So the way the Game Boy was developed is that it was like an ongoing process, or a continuous process of invention is what Nintendo called it. So they were always looking at new iterations. So they'd had the idea since 2004 to have this smaller version. It was developed under the code name Oxy. The company tried to see how small they could make the Game Boy, and it actually has a metallic casing, which is very unusual for a Game Boy system. It retains almost all of the functionality of the Game Boy Advance SP, but it's way more compact, and due to that, it can't play any original Game Boy or Game Boy Color games. It does actually have the internal processor that would allow it to do that, but it just doesn't have other internal hardware that would allow the cases to fit and work. It also features removable decorative housings called faceplates, which look brilliant. Mine that you can see here is a custom one that's aftermarket that they're still making today. And you can buy. It's not made by Nintendo. It's quite hard to get faceplates in good condition, but this is why these is one of those great Game Boys to buy today, because you can get a brand new faceplate for it. The specs of the Game Boy Micro are as follows. They're pretty much the same as the Game Boy Advance SP with a few notable differences. It's got a 32-bit 16.8 MHz ARM processor. The screen is 51mm or 2 inches, and it's backlit with adjustable brightness. The resolution of the screen is 240 by 160 pixels. This is the same as the Game Boy Advance SP, but because the console is so much smaller, it makes it look much higher resolution, which is one of the reasons people love these Game Boy Micros. The colors of the screen are 512 or 32768 bitmap. The battery is a rechargeable lithium-ion battery with up to 5 hours of battery life, with top brightness and sound, or 8 hours with both features on default. I can vouch for that. I'd say I get between 5 and 8 hours on mine. And it also features a 3.5mm headphone jack, which obviously was much more common in 2005 and is much less common these days, but yeah, it's compatible with all main headphones. It has a two-way switch on its right side for adjusting volume, or if you hold down the L shoulder button, you can actually use this switch to adjust between 5 different levels of brightness. This was something I found out while researching for this review. I had no idea I could do this, and actually it's great. It's really nice if you just want to have it a bit brighter, or you're going to be playing for a long session and therefore have it a bit lower for a while. In general, this is one of Nintendo's worst selling consoles. It only sold 3 million units, which is not great. But that makes it hard to come by today, which makes it rarer, which makes it more collectible, and it's a great little console. The reason it didn't sell so well is it released onside the AGS 101 and shortly before the Nintendo DS, so this thing was very short. It was almost a collector's edition even at the time. I remember I got one, and I absolutely loved that thing. Foolishly, I sold it, but it was brilliant, so I bought this one since, and it was great. Now I'm collecting Nintendo consoles. One of the main things that people praise about this console is its screen. It's been praised due to its very, very visible. It's got a finer dot pitch, and it's more evenly lit, and the brightness is adjustable compared to the AGS 001 version of the Game Boy Advance SP, which I have. The similar dot pitch also improves the apparent sharpness of the display. As I said, it's a very small screen, so it's going to look sharper even if it is actually the same. Another big praise for this console is the removable faceplates. It allows quite a lot of customization, and at the time there were quite a few available. There's been some special editions. I think Square Enix did a Final Fantasy one, if I remember right, and there are a few others. And nowadays, due to 3D printing and places like AliExpress, you can get all kinds of different faceplates. Something else that's a little bit different between the Game Boy Advance SP and the Game Boy Micro is the link port. The Game Boy Micro's power port is also its link port, so you need an adapter and a special micro link cable, which are not too expensive even to get today. They also did do a wireless adapter for the Micro, but that can be a little bit more expensive. So now let's go on to my personal opinion of the console. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite Game Boy. As I said, I remember getting my first one, which was the Nintendo Famicom edition of this, which was only actually sold in Japan, but I managed to get one in the UK, and I can't believe I sold that thing. It's an absolute shame. It was a beautiful console. It's just so nice looking. It's made of metal. It feels better than most other Game Boys. And that form factor is brilliant. It's perfect to put in your pocket wherever you want to go. You can take it anywhere. It doesn't have any pocket bulk at all, so it's something that I'll actually carry with me almost all the time in case, I fancy playing a bit of Pokemon Emerald or some Kirby. And also, compared to modern gaming devices, especially smartphones, because you may not want to carry your Nintendo Switch with you all the time because it's a bit too big and may get stolen or something, people are far less likely to steal a Game Boy. But this thing doesn't have access to the internet. It doesn't require the internet at all. It's brilliant for that. You can use it on the underground, on the tube, or the subway, as you'd call it in America. That's where I tend to use it most, where there is no signal, so I can't play on my phone. But I can play on my Game Boy perfectly, and there's so many games to enjoy. Game Boy Advance has some of the best games on any system, in my opinion. Anything from Pokemon Emerald, Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland, which if you haven't played, you should definitely pick up. It's the best version of this game, best Kirby game in my opinion. Fire Emblem, Zelda, Mario, the list goes on. And even nowadays, there's fan ports of games that were only released in Japan, such as my copy in red here, Mother 3, that I have. It's brilliant. It's so good. There's so many games you can get, or you can get an R4 device, which would let you just download ROMs and play any game you want. Obviously, that's pirating, so if you're going to do that, just make sure you either own a copy of the game already, or you buy some merch or something like that, just to put some money their way if you are really enjoying that game. Today, these things tend to go for around £60 on eBay, or in good condition they can be upwards near to £100, which isn't too far off their original release price. Obviously, because they're quite rare, they didn't sell that well, and especially ones in good condition. You tend to be able to get the pink ones, weirdly, a bit cheaper, at sort of around £60, even in brilliant condition. So if you're just looking to pick one up, just get one. You can always change the faceplate and you paint the thing if you want to. They are metal, though, so they might be a little bit harder to paint than a plastic system. But to be honest, in my opinion, they're worth it. It's an absolutely brilliant little machine, even if you only get Pokemon Emerald and Nightmare and Dreamland. Those are two brilliant games. Nightmare and Dreamland, for those short bursts, can replace any of those small mobile games you play. And Emerald is the longer RPG to play. It's just amazing. I definitely absolutely recommend it. And it's just a cool piece of gaming history to own, because it's an unusual console for Nintendo that didn't sell that well. It's not going to go down in value, really, unless you damage it in any way. So I absolutely suggest it. Okay, that was my video today. Thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and share this video if you think anyone would be interested. And thanks for watching.